On today's edition of Westman This Week, we have an update for you on the hunt for the person who slashed nearly 100 car tires in Brandon. Over in Britain, it's a no smoking ban for life. And what do people love more than hockey? Here's a hint. It's soft and tasty. All that and more on this edition of Westman This Week. Hey, how's it going? I'm Stefan Struth, and welcome back to Westman This Week for April 24th. Thank you for joining us. Folks living in the small town of Rivers in the surrounding municipality of Riverdale say they're facing a crime wave. They're pointing the finger at the lack of police in their community. Our Abby Jubenville has the story.
This is the local cannabis shop in Rivers. They were robbed March 18th. The clerk is still shaken up.
I showed up just as they were in the car, pulled up right beside them and called RCMP. Took RCMP 5 hours to get here. They told me to secure the building and go home and they would call me.
From break-ins to robberies, the businesses in Rivers have been getting hit particularly hard ever since the departure of the local police station. The Rivers Police were disbanded in 2024. This is the former police station. Blue Hills RCMP now covers the community. But some are saying when the cops left, the criminals moved in. This staff member at the local drugstore watched last month as 3 people in a car put on masks.
So I confronted them and just asked them what their intentions were and if they had taken anything, and asked them to kindly leave and that they would be reported to the RCMP.
Residents in Rivers seem scared. One Facebook comments complains about all the break-ins. Another says 5 stolen vehicles in the last 2 days. And another woman adds, the town is completely destroyed. The mayor of Rivers, Heather Lamb, says the council had no say in shutting down the local police service. In an email, Lamb wrote, "Crime in Riverdale has remained fairly flat, and our RCMP is doing a very good job." Whatever the statistics might show, many local people are saying they no longer feel safe.
Honestly, no. I wish we had police in Rivers. I really do feel that it would be so much safer and I would feel so much more secure if I had police in Rivers. Not only just living here as a resident, but also as someone that works in Rivers.
People knowing that we do not have police here, I think kind of puts a target on us.
From Westman This Week, I'm Abby Jubenville in Rivers, Manitoba.
Police in Brandon say they've arrested a suspect responsible for a spree of vandalism last month. 85 cars had their tires slashed in South Brandon during the evening of March 11th. The surveillance video is said to show the suspect. Vehicles on 7 streets were reportedly damaged, and police say investigators arrested a 21-year-old man on April 16th. He faces charges of mischief, over $5,000, and resisting arrest. The suspect is still in custody. He'll appear in court on May 19th. It's that time of year again. As the weather warms and road conditions improve, it's time to change those tires. If you don't, it can create some problems. Winter tires are soft. They wear out fast on dry pavement, and that can wear out your wallet. Winter tires are also sticky. Once the snow's gone, they cause your car to use much more gas. And the government requires studded tires to be taken off the road by spring because they damage dry pavement. You can be fined up to $200. Despite this, drivers should still choose to use winter tires whenever there's snow on the highway.
You're not going to be able to brake on time, and you can cause accidents, and you just have no control over your vehicle if you don't change your tires in the wintertime.
The Brandon Riverbank Discovery Center has installed the largest solar panel operation in the city. Organizers say they expect it'll cut down the center's hydro costs. The center had their grand opening for the new solar panels on Earth Day, April 22nd. The setup is large enough to power around 7 homes. It'll cut around 40% of the hydro costs at the center. The main intent of this project is to help others see the benefits of solar energy, such as cost savings and reducing environmental impacts. The staff of the Discovery Center say that they hope people of Brandon will learn more about the potential of solar panels and see them in action.
Anyone out there was interested in solar, either for your home or your business, you can come to us. We can show you in real time what our system is doing, and we can talk about solar with you, about the pros and the cons, and a little bit about our project and how you could potentially use solar in your own home or business.
In the heart of Westman, the community has just wrapped up an event all about pushing limits and supporting others. The Manitoba Cerebral Palsy Association held its annual stationary bike race in Brandon. It aimed to raise awareness and bring support for individuals living with cerebral palsy. Our reporter, Morgan Walker, has the story.
Last week, the community came together for the annual Manitoba Stationary Bike Race, an event focused on raising awareness and support for individuals living with cerebral palsy. Approximately 300 riders took part in this year's event, hopping on stationary bikes and riding for 25 minutes to log distance and raise funds.
It was tough, very tough, with no training and zero preparation. It's very hard. 25 minutes is a long time on that bike.
Oh my goodness! My husband is fanning over here. He's my biggest fan.
It's amazing. From the Dr. Cretin himself over here. Woo! My 5 minutes of fame right here.
Participants of all ages and abilities joined in, showing strong community support and energy throughout the day. The race is part of a province-wide initiative organized by the Cerebral Palsy Association of Manitoba, which provides programs, resources, advocacy for individuals and families affected by cerebral palsy.
So the Westman bike race has been going on for 32 years. It's the biggest fundraiser for the Westman region of the association, and it provides equipment, scholarships, and events for the members affected by cerebral palsy.
It's going awesome. Everything has been smooth. People are here showing up, peddling their little hearts out and raising hard-earned money.
Cerebral palsy is a lifelong condition that affects movement, posture, and muscle coordination, with about 1 in every 500 children diagnosed. The event is designed to be inclusive, accessible, allowing riders to participate at their own pace. Even within the 25-minute ride, many take part in teams, creating a fun, supportive atmosphere, while also encouraging friendly competition.
We like helping the charity, and because it's fun and there's really good hot dogs.
Oh, well, we've been involved since the first bike race in 1994.
96 stores.
It's 94, Paul.
94.
Okay. And Paul has benefited from some of the grants that are offered, and it brings families together, and there's a lot of support, and friendship happens here, and the hot dogs are really good.
With riders, volunteers, and sponsors all contributing to the race, once again proved to be both impactful and inspiring. And while events like this bring people together, they also shine a light on a condition that many may not fully understand.
Cerebral palsy is not contagious, hereditary, or life-threatening, but can range from mild challenges to severe and physical disabilities. For Westman This Week, I'm Morgan Walker, Brandon.
The semester is entering its final stretch, and students everywhere are preparing for one of the busiest times of the academic year. Exams and final project deadlines are coming up. According to Universities Canada, nearly 90% of post-secondary students report feeling overwhelmed by their responsibilities. For students who feel especially anxious, stressed, or struggling with mental health, colleges and universities across Canada have wellness advisors who can give advice. At Assiniboine, that person is Mireille Surette.
Is to be mindful of our breathing and to take slightly deeper and longer inhales and exhales for approximately 1 minute is very helpful on a daily basis.
Loneliness is being called a public health crisis across Canada, but some Brandon citizens have taken matters into their own hands, forming communities of their own. I went out to see what they have to offer. Daria Vedya is a digital art and design student at Assiniboine College. When he came to Canada from India, he found himself without a community to support him.
I was worried that I wasn't going to find like a art community that's very active and engaging, but it was totally opposite. Like the community in Brandon is so open and like engaging.
This led Daria to making a community of his own, Wandering in Brandon, a place for all artists to meet and discuss their works. It's the kind of community that experts say Canadians are desperately needing. According to a YMCA Canada survey, 68% of young Canadians feel lack of belonging, and another 60% feel disconnected from their communities. It can be tough and almost scary to find a group that supports and connects with you. But Daria says it doesn't matter who you are, there's a home for you here.
Yeah, we definitely receive all ages. So like we've had seniors who are like in their 60s, 70s. We've had teenagers. We've had small kids coming with their parents.
While the artists have found a passive approach, some have taken up arms to fight the loneliness epidemic.
Yes! HEMA stands for Historical European Martial Arts. Like other martial arts, we kind of get together, we practice, work on our techniques. There's some ranking. At the end of the day, we kind of just get together and have a great time.
Brendan is Brandon's head HEMA instructor. He began forming the group just over a year ago, and a sudden outcry of support made it happen. HEMA meets just once a week, but Brendan knows it's not just the clashing that draws people back, but the community they find.
You just have similar interests. On top of just, martial arts or thinking swords are cool because they're great, you get people who are into like D&D and sci-fi and things like that. So it's not only the club dynamic and what we teach and the interest in that, but it's also just the camaraderie and togetherness of having people who get you.
Even if European martial arts aren't your thing, community is everywhere in Brandon. Sometimes you just need to push yourself forward and get out there.
I think the biggest thing would just be get out of the house. You gotta find them first. You gotta find your people. Just get out there and, make friends.
Researchers say any consistent group activity can significantly reduce feelings of isolation. Whether it's an art club, a sports team, or a medieval sword fighting guild, get out there, Brandon. That's all the time we have for local news. After the break, Abby Juvenville has a look at international headlines.
time now to take a quick look at some international headlines. I'm Abby Jubinville. British Parliament passed one of the strictest smoking bans in the world Tuesday. Here's how it works. The law will forbid selling tobacco products to anyone born in 2009 or after in the United Kingdom. That date won't change. So it applies to people under 18 years old right now, but in 10 years it will include anyone under 28 years old. The idea is that within a generation, it will outlaw smoking entirely. It also includes vape products. Lawmakers in Britain have a larger incentive to curb unhealthy habits because the health system is publicly funded. Iran paraded what is said was a ballistic missile during a pro-regime rally in Tehran on Tuesday. Footage from Iranian state broadcaster IRIB shows large crowds gathering as the end of a 2-week ceasefire approached. U.S. Donald Trump has since extended the truce with Iran as talks potentially continue. In a Truth Social post Tuesday afternoon, President Trump said he extended a ceasefire with Iran until the country submits a proposal to end the conflict permanently. Earlier that Tuesday, the president indicated that he was not open to a ceasefire extension. Experts worry if negotiations between the U.S. and Iran collapse, the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire could also be at risk. Meanwhile, the U.S. Defense Department says it boarded a vessel Tuesday in the Indian Ocean sanctioned for transporting Iranian oil, according to the Treasury Department. Summer air travelers face yet another inconvenience tied to the war in Iran. Air Canada says it's suspending 6 routes because jet fuel prices have roughly doubled. They include flights from Toronto and Montreal to JFK. That starts June 1st. Air Canada travelers still will be able to reach the New York area via LaGuardia Airport or Newark, New Jersey's airport. The carrier says it's pausing flights from Salt Lake City to Toronto starting June 30th. The other affected routes are between cities within Canada. Pope Leo continues to visit Angola, the 3rd country in his multi-nation tour of Africa. As with his earlier visits to Algeria and Cameroon, the Pope was welcomed in Angola by huge cheering crowds lining the streets. The Pope's visit to Africa is the longest of his pontificate and takes him to a continent where the Catholic Church is growing. Along his tour, he has been giving commanding speeches speaking out against authoritarian and exploitative leaders as a whole, urging for peace. He's been received well in Africa, as according to Vatican statistics, around 1/5 of the world's Catholics live in Africa. Having been a missionary in the global south in Peru, the Pope seems very much at home in this continent, so Leo will begin the final part of his African tour on Tuesday. Humanoid robots took part in a half marathon held in Beijing on Sunday, competing alongside human participants. They were trailing behind their human rivals a year ago. But on Sunday, a running robot named Lightning finished the 21-kilometer run in Beijing in a stunning 50 minutes and 26 seconds. That beat the human world record by more than 6 minutes. The event, officially titled the 2026 Beijing E-Town Half Marathon and Humanoid Robot Half Marathon, kicked off at 7:30 a.m. local time. It featured robots in both autonomous navigation and remote-controlled categories. During the race, humanoid robots demonstrated capabilities in mobility, and balance, and navigation, drawing attention from spectators. That's all for our international headlines. Up next is Oceana Hall to help you plan your weekend. Hope you'll stay with us.
and welcome to The Weekender. I'm Oceana Hall. Here's what's happening this weekend around Brandon and Western Manitoba. If you want to get into gardening but don't know how, you're in luck. The Green Spot is hosting a seed starting workshop. It takes place Saturday at the Green Spot in the East End. The event starts at 1:30 and goes until 3:30. Tickets are $40 each. Lovers of live music are in for a treat. This weekend is jam-packed with performances. Tonight, Adam Johnson is performing at the Lady of the Lake. The show runs from 8 to 10, and tickets will be $12 each. Over at the 40, tonight, Nuttin' But Trouble is playing. Doors open at 9 p.m., and there will be a cover charge of $10 at the door. On Saturday at the 40, Ghost Rockets take the stage. Doors open at 9, and the cover charge is $15. Photo ID is required. The Brandon Downtown Biz is sponsoring a unique art project in the core area. With the details, here's our reporter, Kira McKay. Kira, what can you tell us?
Well, Oshi, the Brandon Downtown Biz got an outdoor art grant with the goal of enhancing the town and encouraging artistic expression. Many art critics are concerned that as AI-generated imagery makes it onto billboards and ads, we risk losing the human-made work that sparks conversations. The Brandon Project allows artists of different mediums, from sculptures to murals, to share their craft with everybody. As the weather warms up, we'll begin to see some of the artists start work on their pieces. All the art will be installed outdoors and within a designated downtown area. If you're an artist and want to be part of the project, it's not too late. The Downtown Biz is still accepting applications. You can read more about the grant at brandondowntown.biz. Oshi, back to you.
Thanks, Kira. Now, better a witty fool than a foolish wit. If you like theater, why not check out Assiniboine Theater Company and Brandon University's rendition of Shakespeare's The Twelfth Night. General admission tickets are $30 and students are $16. Shows run from today through Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Let's take a look at movie news now. Over at Landmark, Michael is premiering. Michael is a biopic of the late king of pop, Michael Jackson. The film follows his early life performing with the Jackson 5 and tracks his rise to stardom. Side note, the role is being played by Michael's real-life blood cousin. Next up on Saturday, only at 11, there will be a special showing of the classic film Twister. It's the film's 30th anniversary. Twister is a disaster film that follows an estranged couple who are storm chasers. They reunite in Oklahoma to deploy an advanced weather sensor when they're suddenly hit by an extreme tornado outbreak. So with all this good stuff going on, what kind of weather can we expect? Let's take a look and see. It's been a warm week, but this weekend has other plans. Today, it was sunny in the morning and early afternoon, but we're having a mix of sun and cloud. There's a 30% chance of showers later today. Tomorrow, we can expect a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +3 and a low overnight of -9. Sunday will be sunny with a high of 9, but then come evening, look out. Cloudy with a 40% chance of snow flurries with a low of -3. Starting your week on Monday, it seems like the sun is still in the witness protection program. Monday will be cloudy with a high of 9, with a 40% chance of flurries or rain showers. The day drops to -3 overnight. So, next week is still not giving us that warm weather we dream about. Someone tell me, what month is it anyway? Anyone? Caleb is up next with the sports update. I wonder if Caleb knows what month it is. I'm Oceana Hall, and that was The Weekender. Have a great weekend.
Welcome back to Westman This Week. It's time for the Sports Wrap. Caleb Kramer joins us now. Caleb, what's going on around the sports world?
Well, Stefan, the Raptors are looking to bounce back in the NBA playoffs, while the Winnipeg Jets will be represented on the international stage. And closer to home, the Brandon Barbarians rugby team have begun their preparations for the 2026 season. 5 players from the Winnipeg Jets will get the chance to represent Canada on the international stage next month. Mark Scheifele, Dylan DeMello, and Gabriel Velarde have all been named to Canada's men's national ice hockey team for the upcoming double IHF World Championships in Switzerland. For Scheifele, it'll be the 4th time playing at the tournament, and he says any chance to represent Canada is something he's proud of. Velarde is coming off a big year with the Jets, playing in all 82 games and putting up 30 goals and 69 points, while DeMello gets his first opportunity with Canada after another steady season on the Winnipeg Blue Line. Other Jets will also be representing their countries, with Nino Niederreiter suiting up for Switzerland and Velianola playing for Finland. The World Championships run from May 15th to the 31st, with several Jets now heading overseas to compete for the gold. It's a battle for the Turnbull Cup as the Verdun Oil Capitals are fighting the Niverville Nighthawks in the MJHL Turnbull Cup. Niverville jumped out to an early edge in the series after taking the first 3 games, led by strong goaltending as the Verdun Oil Capitals have outshot the Nighthawks in all 3 games, leaving the Oil Capitals on the brink of elimination. Verdun will have to get their power play back if they want to get back into the series. They are currently 0 for 17 on the power play. By the time this airs, the Niverville Nighthawks may have been crowned Turnbull Cup champions. If that's the case, so congratulations and good luck in the Centennial Cup. If not, Game 5 will take place Saturday in Niverville. The Mutua Madrid Open is now on in Spain, bringing together the world's top tennis players for one of the biggest clay court events of the year. For Canada's Denis Shapovalov is in the men's draw, while Leila Annie Fernandez is competing on the women's side. Shapovalov brings a big power that can catch anyone on the right day, while Fernandez's steady all-court game tends to work well on clay. Madrid is the start of a key stretch in the tennis season, with players trying to find form before the big events ahead. After a rough start to the series, the Toronto Raptors are heading back home with a chance to reset. The Raptors return to Toronto this weekend and will play in front of their home crowd on Sunday, hoping the energy in the building can help turn things around. The team has struggled early in the series, but getting back on their own court could be exactly what they needed. With hopes of having their starting point guard back in the lineup, Raptors are looking to fight back, apply some much-needed pressure of their own. The Brandon Barbarians are back on the field, kicking off their season for the first time since last year. The club recently returned to practice as players lace up the boots and get back into game shape. It's a mix of familiar faces and a few new ones joining the squad as they start building towards another season of rugby in Westman. With practices now underway, the focus is on shaking off the rust and getting ready for matches ahead of the Barbarians begin their 2026 campaign. And that's what's happening in sports around Westman.
Thanks for the update, Caleb.
It's a great time to be a sports fan. Hey, Stefan, what sports do you watch?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Caleb, I don't watch sports.
Oh, Stefan, you're such a nerd.
At least I don't cheer for the same teams who don't win every single year. Thanks, Caleb. See you later. Summertime is finally peaking, and ice cream shops are now open to the public. For all your sweet tooth needs, our reporter Ben Kennedy is braving the breeze to get a local favorite to get the inside scoop.
Velvet Dip has been a Brandon favorite since the 1960s. That's when ice cream was at its peak of popularity in Canada. And after a few decades of decline, the ice cream obsession is on again.
People like ice cream so much because it's something that you can do and you can get as a family or as a group outing. It promotes community and it's a fun little treat at the same time.
Generations have grown up grabbing cones in Brandon. The favorite flavor is chocolate, second is vanilla. But people in Brandon seem to love it all. But there are those who have their favorite.
Mint chocolate chip.
Strawberry.
Another local favorite is Tasty's Ice Cream and Grill. They've been in business since 1967. Over at Twister's, they've been dishing out ice cream since the late 1990s to early 2000s. Brandon people love ice cream because life's too short to skip dessert. So how much ice cream do we eat? On average, every Canadian eats almost 5 liters of ice cream. No wonder Brandon has so many ice cream shops. The demand in the city never stops. For Westman This Week, I'm Ben Kennedy and Brandon.
That brings us to the end of this edition of Westman This Week, and the last edition for this year. It's been great to be with you. For all of us here at WTW, I'm Stefan Struth. Have a great weekend and a wonderful summer.